Wednesday, February the 18th. Lake level is 908 3/4, about the same as it was last week. Water temperature, was in the low 40s to mid 40s this weekend, but it's taken a hard fall. We've had several inches of snow and some really cold weather, and it looks like the forecast we're going to have a bunch more cold weather. There's ice in a lot of areas right now. I know there's ice on the Kings River at Highway 86. There's ice up in the James River on Highway 76 up there by Bridgeport. And I'm sure Long Creek's got ice. And that's just going to continue to work further on down. Because I think tonight's going to be like -1. And I don't see the forecast showing too many days above freezing. But before we get into the fishing report, got a little deal here I want to talk about. I'm sure a lot of you are aware that there was a Springfield police officer shot in the head about 3-4 weeks ago, Officer Pearson. And Lewis has got together with some other tackle companies, and they put together a raffle to try to raise money to help him and his family. Now, first place in the raffle is a fully rigged Ranger. I believe second place is a fishing trip with Hank Parker, valued over $10,000. Third place is fishing with Jason Christie for a day. There's several other prizes. And to get more information about this, just go to officerpearson.com. It'll have all the details. I believe the raffle tickets are $20 a piece. And even if you don't win anything, your money's going to be going to a good cause. And with as many tackle companies that's involved in this, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of prizes. They're going to go down quite a ways. I believe this is going to go till about June, so hopefully they can raise quite a bit of money for him and his family. But as far as the fishing, it was pretty good this weekend. It actually got better throughout the weekend. They had a tournament Saturday. There was a couple of stringers over 20 pounds. The weights looked like they were up for the most part. I believe, a lot of the bigger fish were caught on Alabama rig. Now, I've been catching fish on a little bit of everything. I'm catching some on an Alabama rig, still catching some on an ice fishing jig, catching some on a little 4-inch grub, smoke with black flake or smoke with red flake, or salt and pepper. Jerk baits, I'm throwing some mega basses and spros, mainly shad patterns, and also catching some fish on a pig sticker football jig. Pretty much whatever bait I'm fishing, it seems like you got to fish it really slow. Now the football jig, I've been throwing it on transition banks just inside the creeks and the pockets, where it goes from bigger rock and starts to flatten out a little bit. The fish have been about 8 as deep as 15 foot. It's a really subtle bite, so you really got to be on your toes. And most all the bite, the jerk bait's real subtle, the grub and everything is. What I've been trying to key on is, a lot of them fish were moving off of them bluffs, starting to move back into these creeks. And some of the deeper creeks, the fish don't ever leave. So the fish that were in these deeper creeks were starting to move up to channel swings and secondary points. Now, with this cold coming in, that's probably going to keep that deep bite going for another week or two. Still catching some on an ice fishing jig. It's not as good as it was 2-3 weeks ago, but you can still find some schools of them. But I've been starting on the main lake points, mixing it up with the jerkbait and an Alabama rig, and even a grub. It just all depends on the wind, and just kind of trying to mix it up to see which one they buy. Now, a lot of the fish I've been catching hadn't really been that deep. The grub fish, I've been giving the grub about an 8 to 10 count. Depending on how steep the bank is how quick it drops, what depth it is. But for the most part, I've been setting the boat about 30, 35 feet. The jerkbait, I'm trying to throw to the cedars. If there's no cedars there, I've been fishing the channel swings. And I'm looking for that bigger rock where it starts to change, transitions on the bank. Then fish were starting to, stage up, get a little bit higher in the water column. But like I say, I think with this cold, that's probably going to pull them back out just a little bit, but they're not going to go very far. The one thing about when the water temperature is cold like this, if you caught fish this past weekend when it was warming up nice, the fish aren't going to be very far away. So, the main deal is just going to be a slow presentation. Mix it up between a grub, jerkbait, Alabama rig, and even a bottom bait and a jig. So as far as the boat ramps, if you're going to go fishing, probably none of the core ramps are going to be open. A person might be able to get in at like Indian Point or What's Up Dock, but I don't think none of the places are going to be plowed, except for the exception of maybe Indian Point, What's Up Dock. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.